Once upon a time, there was a huge oak tree in a small garden in a sieve of straw. There were dozens of birds in this tree. The sparrow and the pigeon met on this tree and became friends. Since the sparrow does not get along well with other sparrows, she usually prefers to spend time alone. But after a while it started to get very boring. That's why he wanted to make friends. On a sunny day in June, the pigeon appeared. He has come such a long way that he is very tired. So he wanted to rest a little in the oak tree. Seeing the pigeon coming, the sparrow first followed it for a while. Then he couldn't stand it and went to her and wanted to meet her. They had a long chat. They loved each other very much. The sparrow convinced the pigeon to stay there. The pigeon did not want to accept it at first, but did not want to offend the sparrow. Then they both started to nest in different branches. With each passing day, their nests began to grow. But the pigeon's nest looked beautiful. The sparrow started to get jealous of this situation. The pigeon's nest was higher and more beautiful and larger. One day, the sparrow succumbed to his jealousy. When the pigeon was not in sight, it damaged its nest and dropped it to the ground. When the pigeon arrived, he was very disappointed. The home he worked so hard for is no longer there. He would have to do everything from scratch. But he also understood that it was the sparrow that made his nest this way. The dove immediately went to the sparrow and asked why he had done such a thing. The sparrow has no explanation. That's why he made up a ridiculous excuse and got into a fight with the pigeon. He said that the oak tree belonged to the sparrows and that it had to leave, and drove the dove out of there. The pigeon, which was very upset by this situation, flew away without saying anything. The next day, when the sparrow went out to look for food, a big cat climbed a tree and destroyed the sparrow's nest. When the sparrow returned, she saw that the cat had ruined her nest, and she was both very scared and sad. It rained heavily that night and the sparrow had nowhere to hide. He felt very lonely, both because he had a bad relationship with other sparrows and because he had no other friends. He realized his mistake that night. If he had not driven the pigeon out of there, he could have taken shelter in its nest. He desperately needed both the pigeon's nest and its companionship. But he himself fell into the well he had dug. The sparrow, which got very wet in the rain, became ill and did not recover for a long time.